Welcome to the Fourth Down Experience, the podcast devoted to special teams. Your host of the Fourth Down Experience, former pro free agent, 9-year professional kicking coach out of the Midwest, Coach Chris Hughesby. Alongside Coach Chris Hughesby is a former 2-time Arena Bowl champ, 9-year pro kicking coach, repping the South, Coach Brian Jackson.
Hey guys, welcome to the Fourth Down Experience. This is our Season 3 edition, and Chris and I have been ecstatic at seeing the growth of the podcast, and we obviously are appreciative and enjoy your guys' support of everything we've done and all the folks that we've had here on the podcast, just delivering value and information and feedback in the special teams industry. And we're excited. We know we use that word a lot, but we are genuinely excited about the podcast today because we will have our first XFL specialist on the show. And Chris, how are you, and how are you feeling about the podcast today?
I'm doing good. The XFL has been a long time coming. I think it's been pubbed for like 2 or 3 years now. So the fact that we can actually really talk about it now and finally have a specialist on from the league, we're excited.
Right. Everything looks professional, and, like when the AAF was coming out, everything was looking nice. But the thing is, with the XFL, it has some history, and, obviously the fun punt return rules and all that back in the day. And, everything just looks legit. So I'm excited to hear from our guest today and kind of hearing what he has to say thus far in the journey.
Yep.
So without further ado, guys, we are excited to welcome the first XFL specialist to the Fourth Down Experience podcast, Taylor Russolino. How you doing, man?
Doing well, guys. How's it going today?
It's going very well. Welcome to the Fourth Down Experience podcast.
All right. Thank you, man. Excited to be here, and we look forward to a few good minutes and some good quality conversation with you guys.
Nice.
Taylor, you should be excited because we asked you to be on the show before we asked Marquette King to be on the show, which is the guy that holds your balls.
Right.
And really, Marquette, we have some beef with Marquette because he was going to be on the podcast before the XFL started back up, and then we never heard from him again because of his phone. So you have a freebie on us to give him a bunch of crap because for some reason he didn't have a phone for like 2 weeks. He says,
right, and that's very believable. So,
thanks, but I wanted to share on the podcast to everyone is just Taylor and I have a little bit of history. Taylor played at Millsaps College, and he can expound upon that here in a minute. But we actually did a training lesson, Chris. I don't know if you know this, Chris, but I did a training lesson with some college guys, and Taylor just finished at Millsaps, a school down here in Mississippi, and we kicked at Louisiana Lafayette, and I had never heard of Taylor. And I was thinking, like, all right, it's going to be another, decent college guy, just finished, going to be whatever. And this guy was just crushing, like, 65-yard field goals, 80-yard kickoffs, like, bomb punts. I'm just like, who the hell is this dude? And so we have a little bit of history together, and obviously he's trained with fantastic folks on the West Coast. And I'm just personally, genuinely, I'm so excited for Taylor because even just watching his grind on social media, everyone that is listening to this needs to go follow Taylor on Instagram because he's been posting content of his workouts, his kicking. He's an awesome surfer. You guys should follow him on Instagram because he is the epitome of just hard work, and to see it actually come to fruition and see him, just doing his dream with the XFL, like, he just totally deserves it. And that's just, from me to you, Taylor, like, I'm proud of you, man. Just like you make the specialist industry proud.
Thank you, man. That's a hell of an introduction, and I'm excited, and kind of like I was saying when I talked to you earlier, it's been quite the journey, and I'm excited for this opportunity. It's been a phenomenal first few weeks here with the organization and with the league, and to see it all come to fruition out on the field, from the XFL people who have been involved with it since day one to finally getting all the players and teams here in Houston at the training camp. It's been extremely fun, and I'm excited. I think there's some big things to come this next 3.5 months with some good, high-quality spring football, and I think the fans will enjoy the hell out of it.
That's awesome. Well, let's start off with the current situation. XFL, everybody's dying to hear more. We all saw on Instagram and social media within the last week all these new rule changes. I guess, what's the experience been so far in your first 2 to 3 weeks?
Yeah, so as far as it's definitely been a learning curve, especially as far as the kickoff and punts go. That's something they're trying to really incentivize in this league is the return. Instead of calling a fair catch, or instead of kind of trying to have that kicker kick it to the back of the end zone or directional punt a ball out of bounds, they're essentially going to penalize you for doing those things because they, like I said, they want to incentivize that return. They want the fans to see that enjoyment of a big spark or a big momentum game-changing play to really grasp that fans, to grasp their attention and to enjoy that beauty of special teams, which we all love so much. But as we see kind of through the college and NFL ranks, they're slowly starting to eliminate it piece by piece. And, a lot of that has to do with safety and all that, which is also a big priority in this league. But the way they're doing it is extremely interesting, especially with the kickoff. So I'm not sure if y'all looked at the rules or not, but did y'all get a chance to maybe watch any of the promo videos that they had put out?
Yeah, I watched all the videos, and I will tell you, Taylor, it really bothered me. I don't like any of the rules other than you get to kick field goals. But I'm really hoping that this interview and you can make light of the situation, because it makes me feel personally like that the kickers, the kicking and punting is kind of just getting pushed out the door. Like, I get the player safety and all, but I would love to hear, like, since you're actually there and you're getting coached and you're modifying your kicking towards it, I would love to hear all the intrinsic details that go on with the changes.
Right. So, as far as from the place kicking perspective, honestly, aside from the taking out of the extra point, it's essentially still the same game for us. Because on the kickoff, we're kicking off from the 25-yard line. So in regards to the NFL, we're 10 yards back. So as I previously mentioned, they do not want us to kick it to the end zone. But hell, to get it to the end zone from the 25, that's quite a damn good kick anyway. It's doable. Right. Obviously it's very doable with a wind at the back, or if you really get that A ball. But it's not something that's going to happen every play. But the big tricky part is if you're kicking it from the 25, you have to kick it to at least the 20-yard line. So that's a 55-yard kick, which is, that's a pretty decent kick. It doesn't leave you much room for error, per se, because if you don't kick it past the 20, the kickoff return team gets the ball on the opposing 45-yard line. That is a massive penalty.
Okay, so real quick, T. So if you're kicking off from the 25-yard line, if you do not get that ball to the 20, if you, for some reason, let's just say, coaches say, hey, we're going deep, and you just undercut it, or maybe you're into a stiff wind, and you hit it 54 yards to the 21-yard line, the other team gets the ball where?
On the plus 45, so essentially a 55-yard difference from the goal line.
Wow, that's crazy.
That's so it's kind of putting an emphasis on, you have to have someone who can definitely, rely on a decent leg, especially like you said, if that wind picks up, or if it's a rainy day there in Seattle or MetLife, you really have to get it down there. So basically, you're trying to kick it between the 20 and the goal line. And then if it goes through the end zone, that's called a major. So it comes out to the 35, which isn't that bad. But if you kick it, say it lands on the 2, and the ball rolls into the end zone, that's called a minor, which is actually the best thing. The ball comes up to the 15. But that's not going to happen too often, but that's the best scenario case-wise for the kicker. So,
all right, real quick, let's recap this for the audience here. So, if Taylor hits it 76 yards into the end zone, it's called a major. It's like a touchback, but it's called a major, and you guys get the ball. The other team gets the ball at the 35.
Correct. Yep.
Now, if you kick it on the 10, returner doesn't touch it, and it rolls into the end zone, that's called a minor, and that's actually better because the team now only has the ball on the 15-yard line.
Correct. Exactly.
Okay, wow. So this is already making me feel a lot better than my perception.
Right.
Okay, now another thing, Taylor, you being a specialist for several years, does that 55-yard cutoff, does that also kind of like eliminate the pooch and sky kicks too?
It does. Yes. It's basically during the kickoff, it does, and it also eliminates that what we love as former arena guys is that surprise onside. But
okay,
the onside kick is still a live play. We just have to notify the ref, and then the referee obviously notifies the kick return team. So basically, if we're going to call an onside kick, it has to be set up, and then we can still kind of go left, right, or middle with it because the onside kick will emulate the onside kick that we're used to. It'll look like 10 guys 10 yards apart from me. I'll throw the hand down. I'll kick it. Try to bounce it up left, right, or middle, and we'll try to recover the football. But there's no surprise. There's no squib it down the middle. There's no pooch left. It's really just service the returner, see what those 10 guys can do, because it's basically you have 10 guys on the 35, 10 guys on the 30. They cannot go until the returner catches the football. So when the returner catches the football, you have 20 guys now who make that initial movement. And it's from a returner's perspective, some of these guys are going to get crushed. That's kind of what we've kind of begun to experience or see through film and through just working with the whole new rule is as much as they want to see some of these returns, I mean, some of these returners are going to have a tough time. So the kickoff is going to be a very, very interesting play that this league is still kind of waiting to really see at full speed. So
you're kicking off from the 25, Taylor. I've got a couple questions. So are you limited on your approach? Can you be like 17 yards back, or can you only be 3 yards back? What are you limited on your approach?
From my understanding, you can be wherever you want it.
Okay.
So basically, what I'm doing is just my normal kickoff steps, and I'm
okay.
All
right, perfect. So, now you're kicking off from the 25. Ball's teed up on the 25. Where is your kickoff coverage team standing at?
So the kickoff coverage team is on the 35 on the other side of the field, right? So I'm on my side of the field all by myself, which is kind of strange. It's kind of like a goal kick in soccer where you're like, all right, everybody go down the field. And I'm the field. So, and then the kickoff return. Yeah. So the kickoff return team will be on the 30. They'll have 10 guys on the 30. We'll have 10 guys on the 35. They'll have the returner, back, maybe heels on the 5, heels on the 10, and then they'll have me kicking. And that's what the initial setup or, the alignment will look like from a viewer's perspective.
And you have to ensure, when you're kicking off from the 25-yard line, you have to make sure you get it past the 20-yard line.
Past the 20-yard line, yep.
So on the visual side, because as a kicker, like, if you're just out practicing, just joking around, and you're kicking off from the 25, and you have that whole field sitting in front of you, that's kind of daunting. That's a long way.
Right.
Unless you got a 20-mile-an-hour gust behind you. But like, I wonder if having all those players, I mean, you're talking about 10 plus 11. You're talking about 21 dudes standing about 50, 60 yards in front of you. So maybe that helps with the visuals, knowing like, okay, as long as I launch this over my guys, then I should be good to get this past 20. What's it look like? Because obviously you've had a couple reps with that since everyone's in training camp together. All y'all are down there together. What's that kind of look like from the kickers, like POV?
It's definitely interesting. Like I said, you're just having that whole visual of the open field. The field. It doesn't necessarily look bigger, but it and then kind of like what you related to, it does give you that perspective of, okay, well, I see these 20 guys. It's almost like a target, an aiming point. And I mean, not once have I not actually gotten it past the 20 yet, but could it happen? Like I said, on a windy day or a rainy day, it's definitely, I was talking to one of the guys in the league, and it's like, the slightest miss hit, for the slightest, if you get under the football, that ball could land on the 20 or 21-yard line. So you just gotta trust the swing, and you know, it's kind of like a regular kickoff to me. You know, just like I'm trying to kick it to the back of the end zone. You know, and we can work in direction left, direction right. But it's definitely interesting when that returner catches it, because everything's rapid fire from right there. Right when he catches the football, you know, you have 20 guys who make that initial move, because they cannot move until he catches it. So it's kind of like chaos for a second, but.
So obviously, Taylor, you know, all the guys are down there, all the teams, you know, all the teams for training camp, logistically, financially, it makes sense that you guys are all kind of scrimmaging, you know, getting training camp done, because here in about 3.5 weeks, you guys will be playing ball. So I'm curious, like talking to other kickers and punters and seeing other special teams coordinators, etc. Like, what are you guesstimating kickers and special teams guys will be doing throughout the season? Do you think they're going to be hanging the ball up around the 15 or kicking it for majors and minors? Like, what are you guesstimating will happen across the week?
You know, I mean, for the most part, I think most of the guys will just kind of be just focused on hitting that, you know, that pure ball to the, you know, to the 10, to the 5. I don't think it gives you much of a chance to I mean, you can hang it up there, but, you know, say you put that ball on the 18-yard line. I mean, essentially the hang time is not relevant at all, because nothing happens until the returner catches the football. So whether the ball is up there for, you know, 3 seconds or 4.5 seconds, you know, that doesn't really affect the play too much. And then I think one of the big things is kind of just, you know, whether we go direction left, direction right, because, you know, therefore you can have some guys in the back end, say on the right side of the return, who can kind of fold over and, you know, and kind of condense the field, kind of like a normal kickoff. You know, so for me, kind of, or from even talking with some of the other guys, you know, they're kind of just being coached, you know, just hit that ball, you know, just hit that ball, pick the spot, you know, try to get the direction down and kind of let the play unfold itself.
Nice.
So I don't really see too much of, you know, of strategizing the kick as far as that goes.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I think you almost have to just play the game and figure out what works. It's like the new it's like the college kickoff rule where you can fair catch it inside the 25. I mean, you just got to kind of see what works and what doesn't. And
and there's definitely still some questions to be answered. So, for instance, tomorrow we actually have our first scrimmage. It's going to be basically where we are playing the second half of a game. So basically, we'll kick the ball off to start the third quarter, and we'll play 2 quarters. So tomorrow, seeing that in full speed, you know, will definitely give us a better idea how it'll all unfold.
Nice. Okay, cool. I guess if you call this preseason or fall camp or winter camp or whatever you want to call it, where are you guys practicing right now? Are you guys all in one location, all the teams, or are you guys actually in your respective cities?
No, so kind of like what Brian had mentioned earlier, all 8 teams, we're all out here in Houston. We're all spread out to the city. Us, St. Louis, we are at a kind of a district high school stadium, a beautiful big Texas high school stadium, kind of on the north side of Texas. And, you know, we're all at individual hotels that have, you know, meeting rooms set up, treatment up, you know, the whole 9 yards as far as everything that goes towards training camp. And then whenever we scrimmage or have a joint practice, you know, we'll travel to one of the other teams' facilities, such as I know the Houston team is using the University of Houston. I know there's one team using Rice University, you know, and then a few others, kind of similar situations, you know, using some of the bigger high school stadiums. So it seems like everybody has a fairly nice setup, which is nice. And then as far as bus rides go, you know, it's a 10 to 15 minute ride, which isn't too bad at all. So far it's been, you know, it's been a great setup. They did a real good job, and everything's been on par.
Okay, so I'm curious. So let's take it back just a little bit further. What were tryouts like? Like, how were selections made for these types of teams?
So from my understanding, they had showcases in each of the respective cities. I personally did not go to a showcase, but I was entered into the draft pool, which it seems like, you know, the head 3 or 4 guys, the entire league, kind of got together and took, you know, hundreds of maybe around 1,000 plus players, you know, including specialists, punters, snappers, kickers, and they evaluated, you know, numerous of them, and then they entered some of them, you know, they at least put the names into a draft pool, and then if you were entered into the draft pool, that gave you the eligibility to be drafted when they had the initial draft in October. But I do know that they had some tryouts, in each city. They had kind of like a showcase thing where they had, skilled players, kickers, punters go out there and showcase their abilities and then be evaluated on that, on that front.
Nice.
So, I saw Marquette had tweeted out something today, just kind of saying that punting in the XFL is kind of demoralizing. So, I mean, me reading the rules and watching the videos, I couldn't agree more. I feel better about the kickoffs after speaking with you, which is nice to get some clarity and just to hear it out. So that makes me feel better. Punting scares me. Can you talk about the punting aspect?
Yeah, so the big difference, especially being here with Marquette, and watching somebody as good as he is punt the football, he's kind of built his game around, directional punting, pinning somebody in the coffin corner or, going 50 yards downfield and putting the ball on out of bounds. But in this game, you do not want to, essentially what I was saying earlier, they're trying to incentivize that return. So they do not want you punting it out of bounds. And similar to that kickoff, it's a major penalty if you punt the ball out of bounds. So for instance, if you're on the the plus 30-yard line and you're trying to get that ball inside the 20, and you punt the ball and it goes out of bounds, say on whether it's the 10-yard line or the 2-yard line, but it goes out of bounds, the return team then gets the ball at the 35-yard line. So that's a 15-yard difference in, say, the NFL or college where you get it on the 20. So that's kind of the thing is that, they're still, we're still going to directional punt, but then it's kind of more so, let's aim for the numbers instead of let's aim for, out of bounds, per se. So that's kind of a different aspect of it, but, and then it's kind of a similar rule as the kickoff as well. So the gunners cannot move until the ball is kicked. So the gunners will basically move laterally, left to right, 2 or 3 yards, kind of shuffling their feet, trying to get a little bit momentum. And then when the ball comes off the punter's foot is when the gunners can actually go. Therefore, they're saying we'll basically create more room for the returner to kind of get receive the catch and then have instead of say 6 to 7 yards before the punt team gets down there, he'll have about 12 to 15 yards, which would give him kind of more wiggle room and the ability, therefore, most likely break for a return.
I feel like I'm listening to chess strategy right now, but it's pretty cool to try to follow and get,
Yeah. It's definitely a lot. We're still learning it. Every day in meetings, we're kind of watching some film that we put together, and it still doesn't really seem normal yet until we really can get that full game speed. But it's definitely a different aspect, especially for the punter. As far as me and Marquette have talked about that daily. Kind of, what ball should we hit? What ball should we try to go with? Should we do the Aussie? Should we go for the hang time? So we're having some fun messing around with it, and we have a good group of guys over here. We have a couple of great special teams coaches that have some experience in the league, and that and they're in the same boat as us. We're all trying to learn these new rules and trying to mess around with it, and really trying to see what works best, which we're still in the process of figuring out.
Hey Taylor, are there any incentives for field goals, or is it just straight up 3 points? Is like
just straight
55?
3 points.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nothing. So goalposts are the same. Pro hashes.
Yep, pro hash. As far as field goals go, that's the same exactly what we're used to. Like you had mentioned, there's no extra points, but hopefully we can get some 2, 3, 4 field goals a game would be nice. So,
what I'm curious about is, are they changing anything on offense where you would see more percentage of field goal attempts?
So actually, what they're trying to do is they're trying to encourage teams to go for it on 4th down. That's why they're kind of penalizing the punt. So if you have a 4th and 2, say from the 37-yard line, it'd be a 55-ish, give or take field goal, or it'd be a pooch punt. well, let's maybe go for it, because if you punt that ball out of bounds, they're going to get the ball at the 35, so that's just a net of a 2-yard punt, essentially. So it's like,
wow.
they're trying to really, push that. Let's go for it on fourth down. Let's try to create some more plays, because it's a faster game with the shorter play clock. But I mean, I still think I think there'll still be, your fair share of punts, and I definitely still think you'll see, like I said, a couple, 2-3 field goals a game, give or take, here and there. But
it's really interesting to hear you say earlier, which makes complete sense, about the hang time on the kickoffs. Like, since they're already down there waiting,
right,
you could hit a 3-4 hang, which is frowned upon in the NFL. But now, granted, if you hit a 78-yard kickoff with 3-4 hang, then no one's going to complain too much. But I mean, you could hit a 3-0. I mean, that'd be pretty impressive to hit a 70-yard kickoff 3-0 in general. But it's just weird to hear the hang time really doesn't matter. It's about where that guy catches the ball at beyond his 20 down there. It's just wild to hear that. Like,
yeah.
Doesn't it to you, Chris?
Yeah, I agree. It's just drive the ball. It's kind of weird.
So Taylor, obviously there's so many kickers out there that are just wanting just to get their hands on the ball, and debating if they should spend $130 to get one. But talk about the ball itself. Like, you played arena ball, you've been in NFL camps, you've been in all. So how does that football compare to what brand, etc.? Talk about it.
So the ball itself, I feel, is a little. The ball flies fine. I mean, for instance, when I was at home over the break, it does not fly as far or as high, and that is something that we kind of all noticed as a group here in the XFL. And some of that could have to do with some of the brand new footballs they're getting. But when I was back at home kicking just a few weeks ago and had a couple balls with me, I was noticing about a 5 to 6 yard difference on kickoffs and on field goals. But the ball itself, it's a little thinner. But as far as the leather goes, the leather's pretty similar. It has these X's kind of all over it. Kind of the whole pattern of the football is like an X pattern. The size of like a pencil eraser size X, which kind of adds some grit to the football. So, so as long as you have a good equipment guy, which we do, we have a pretty experienced equipment manager, and his staff's pretty solid. So, they're doing a good job of kind of softening up, breaking in the footballs. Because an interesting point in this game, from what I've been told so far, but I'm not 100%, haven't verified it, we are going to be able to basically kick whatever football we want, and there's going to be no K-ball rule. Meaning, because they want to see long field goals, they want to see big punts, they want to see that. So there's not going to be this rule of, okay, well, you have 30 minutes before the game to break in a football. If we want to break in a football, Monday and mess around with it all week and kick it, we can get that ball just how we like it for game day.
Nice.
It's cool.
So
the ball itself is really cool, though. Yeah, I mean, it's cool how each ball is kind of customized to the team. So, for instance, like our ball says St. Louis BattleHawks, and then, for instance, the LA says Los Angeles Wildcats, and so they're all kind of customized in regards to, like, the color and the logo. But, I mean, it's a pretty good football, honestly. I mean, I don't have too many complaints about it. The rotation is fine. You can still hit that nice side spiral. You can get that clean end-over-end rotation. But I do believe there's a little bit of a distance in height that's not there with these balls, but that could very much change, as we kick them more and get these balls broken a little bit more.
Curious, the league obviously is starting shortly, or the season, but are there any rules that would prevent you contractually from possibly joining the NFL if needed? Like if they want to bring you in the middle of the season, or is it set up where you finish the season with the XFL and then you could possibly join an NFL team? Yeah,
just what you said right there, Pat, at the end. If a team was to call me right now, I am contractually not able to go. I would have to wait until the end of the season, or if at some point I was released. But I mean, yeah, say the first 3 or 4 games happen, and I'm 10 for 10, and I have a few teams calling me. I mean, I kind of have to keep quiet, or I kind of have to hang back until the end of the season. But so they're trying to keep that loyalty for some of the players I hear,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, cool. So, obviously you've been training for a long time, and you get this opportunity. How do the legs feel? How are you recovering and taking care of your body, like prepping for the season? You guys play in about 3.5 weeks.
Yeah, the legs feel great. I mean, the first few days were kind of tough, real conditioning kind of to start off camp, and then that same day they asked me to hit a 58-yard field goal, but, I was fortunate enough to go ahead and bang it. And then after a few days of being sore, my body kind of, it kind of caught back up to itself, and, just everything from hydration to the massage guns to the, the proper stretching and mobility to the essential dieting. I mean, just, because all those things, play a huge part into it. It's kind of not, there's not just one X factor that makes or breaks it, but so far, the body's holding up great. I'm ready. I feel healthy. I feel strong. I feel powerful. I feel mentally ready, and so I'm looking forward to that game week 1, baby.
Where are the games played at? Do you know where you're at in St. Louis? Are they college stadiums or pro stadiums?
For the St. Louis team, we are at the old Rams Stadium. So we're
Nice.
the only team in the league that gets to play indoors, which is awesome from my
Nice.
perspective. But yes, I think, majority of the other teams are in NFL stadiums. For instance, Seattle's in CenturyLink. You have Tampa Bay down in Raymond James. You have New York playing in MetLife.
Wow.
I think you have the LA team playing where the Chargers play. And then you do have the Houston team is playing where the University of Houston plays, which we actually scrimmage at tomorrow, which from what I saw is a beautiful stadium. And then the Dallas team actually, the new Texas Rangers ballpark is going to be opening, in a few weeks, and that's where the Dallas team's going to be playing. So the stadiums are top notch, which will be fun.
Wow, that's awesome. Makes it more legitimate, obviously.
For sure.
As a feeder.
It certainly does.
Are you excited to meet Pat McAfee on the sidelines?
Yeah, certainly. I think having him out there, I think that's going to be great for the brand. I think it's going to be great, to get his perspective, especially with some of these new kicking and punting rules. I think he'll have quite an interesting take on it, and I think he'll have some fun. And yeah, definitely look forward to him, being out there on the sidelines having some fun with us.
Nice, man. It was nice to hear your voice and just catch up with you, dude. And thank you so much for providing all the insight on the rules. I mean, just so much clarity, and it's kind of getting me excited just to watch now and just see, like Chris said, the chess match. Like, it's gonna be really cool to see you guys perfect your skill set here.
For sure, yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it, man. It should be fun.
Yeah. So Taylor, our capstone question we always like to ask everybody, and it's really fun to get their take. You've had quite an extensive journey, with Arena and Canadian and different pro tryouts. So maybe you can't quite collectively, do one league, but what are your favorite top 5 stadium experiences playing in, or maybe facilities that you've been a part of?
Right. There's been so many of them throughout the, from regard to arena football to the Canadian League, having the amazing experience of kicking down Howard Hall in Chicago. But one of the places that really stands out to me is that new CFL stadium in Saskatchewan. I'll kind of never forget. I was just leaving California on a day where it was 70 degrees and sunny on a Tuesday, and I'm flying up there, and my first game is at that stadium on Thursday night, and it's about 12 degrees, 15 miles per hour wind, and there wasn't an empty seat in that stadium. And that was in Saskatchewan, which up there, they absolutely love their football. And then another pretty cool spot, which is unique to probably me and, not many guys out there, maybe just, one or two others, was playing over in China when I got to play in a couple of the arenas over in Beijing and Shanghai.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Which were these phenomenal, I'm talking world-class basketball arenas that looked like modern-day, spaceships that held, 30,000+ people. and seeing those transformed into an arena football field was quite the scene. So, and then what are some other ones? Maybe, I mean, coming from a small school, I never really had the luxury of playing at any major big ones. It was always cool to have, those smaller stadiums just packed with people just screaming. You could almost hear if one person said your name, you could hear it. So that was always pretty cool. But I look forward to these next few weeks. These next few months, having some of these bigger stadiums come under my belt, and I'm excited for all that. So
awesome,
man. Those are all great venues. The China thing was awesome. Just from watching it and hearing about some of the incentives and everything, like that would have been really cool to see that keep going. And
right.
So I know that was an experience that you obviously never took for granted, because that was fun following your journey, playing in that league and all. But man, I'm stoked. I'm excited to watch on TV coming up, dude. We wish you the best of luck, and maybe if you have a bye week or something like that later on in the season, maybe just love to hear how things are going, just to kind of touch base with you, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm an open book, so I appreciate you, providing me the opportunity, to speak on some of this, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a fun spring of football with some very interesting, special team dynamics thrown in there. So it should be fun to watch.
All right, best of luck to you, dude.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Yep. Thanks, Taylor, for being on. Stay in touch. Good luck with everything.
All right, man. Likewise, gentlemen. Y'all have a wonderful night.
You too.
All right, bro. Peace. Well, Chris, first XFL specialist on the 4DE Nation podcast. I loved it, man. That was really cool hearing everything you had to say.
Yeah, definitely enjoyed it. I thought I understood what was going on over there in the XFL, and just getting his explanation made it easier, but still a little bit more confusing. But I'm excited to just see how it all plays out, and I think it's one of those things you just got to watch a game and see how the strategy happens, and it's gonna be fun. Super happy that Taylor's been on, and kind of like you've worked with him a little bit, and I've kind of been following his journey for the last number of years too, and so it's just cool to see the things that he does, because he's experienced a lot.
Yeah. I mean, he's been around the block, and he actually played a couple games for the New Orleans Voodoo, which is a team that I got to play for a couple times, and but yeah, him and I go way back, man. I think like 2013 or something like that is when we had our first training. But he's a really good kicker, and just again, I encourage all you guys to follow him at TG Russolino on Instagram, and just follow his journey. He does so many awesome workouts, just like in his backyard. He's very fit kicker, so he knows what he's doing with his body and his core. So definitely check him out. He's a very good kicker, a very solid kicker. He can punt too. So we're excited to see how he does this year, and like we said in the interview, we'd love to touch base with him in the middle of the season, kind of see how he's doing, and maybe just see how it compares to how we're talking now before the season. So thanks, guys, for listening, and we'll kind of let Chris finish this podcast out here.
Yeah, so like always, guys, thanks for the continued support. We're kind of in the front end of the season 3. It's been incredible. We got a sweet laundry list of household names of guys that we're about to interview, guys in the NFL that wanted to wait till the season ended. So stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe and follow us, because we got a nice batch of interviews coming up that I think you're going to enjoy. So thanks for all your support. Have a great day.
Thank you for listening to the Fourth Down Experience. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Fourth Down Experience.